Hey Gama Gang, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be doing a Landzy Talks video. I have one Landzy Talks video on my channel. It was supposed to be like a series where I talk about motivational stuff, where we tackle certain issues, talk about anything that we face or that I face. I wanted it to be an interactive platform, but I did one video and I fell off after that because I went through a few things that time, and it was just hard to sit and talk about those things when I wasn't fully ready. I wasn't in the position where I felt like I could motivate you guys, and I know like everything doesn't have to necessarily be motivation, but I still want it to be in some sense. So I don't want to sit in front of the camera and be like, oh my gosh, my life sucks, and life genuinely sucks for everyone, so we just have to make it work. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to go through the things I was going through and then come back and tackle it. Things got better, then they get worse, better. You know how life fluctuates. That's basically what it was. So if you follow me on social media, you will know that I went through probably one of the darkest times of my life. I'd say, yeah, one of the darkest times of my life. I guess the mistake I made, and I don't want to say mistake because everyone can express themselves they want to, but I think one of the things that I did wrong is expressing it on social media. I made all my profile pictures black. I was tweeting very dark things, if I could say. I wasn't posting as much. I wasn't okay at all. I'd be lying if I said now I'm okay. I'm really not. I'm better. I've gotten help. I'm trying to work on it. I'm trying to get back to myself. I'm trying to just get up on my feet and keep it moving. But I wouldn't say that I'm okay. I'd be lying. But I'm definitely better than where I was. Thank you for all the messages that I received. The love was insane. I got so many encouraging DMs, so many tweets, so many comments on my channel. Like the love all around and the concern and people wanting me to be okay was just, I couldn't believe it. Like I don't know how many times I cried. Like I'd read some of your messages and I'd be like and they really were helpful. It's crazy. It's really crazy how people that don't even know you can send you such heartfelt and sweet things. So I really, really am grateful from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. I did respond to some of them. Some I didn't, obviously, because there's actually quite a lot. But I'm extremely, extremely grateful. Another reason why I didn't respond is at first I was very in that it doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter what you tell me, I don't care, like I'm not okay. Like you couldn't tell me anything, essentially. I decided that I wasn't okay and that I hated my life, and that was it. So people sending me motivational messages felt very like, we can see you sad, so we're going to send you a motivational letter or message because it makes sense to. Do you know what I mean? I was looking at it that way. So at first I wasn't really appreciative of it. I was very just like, ugh, whatever. Like, thank you, but whatever. But obviously it takes growing, and now in hindsight, or now that I've bettered myself, I'm like, wow, no one had to do that. And people sent me a lot of messages and comments, and it was just, the love was insane. Like, I don't know how else to express it, sorry. So thank you so much. I'm extremely grateful. It doesn't go unnoticed. So to give you guys peace of mind and assurance, I am doing better. I'm not fully okay, but I am doing better. So I'm happy with where I am right now. Trust me, like I was in the pits. So I felt it was only right to do a Landzy Talks video after I've been gone for so long, and I was openly going through something really dark, or things that were putting me in a very dark place. So I felt, let me actually talk about it. Let me let's divulge in the conversation of depression and anxiety. I'm not gonna make it like a professional talk. I'm just gonna talk what oh God, am I speaking English? I'm not gonna make it a professional conversation. I'm just gonna express how I feel, my thoughts, and you guys will comment down below and also suggest anything else that you guys would like me to talk about. This is a place where we can all be vulnerable. I never want anyone to feel alone. I want us to talk about those things. If you don't want to comment below. You can DM me anything that you're going through, and I'm not saying that I have the best advice so that I'm going to help you, but talking about it does help, and talking about it to someone that you may or may not look up to and they happen to be going through things as well, it also helps, because I've noticed that a lot of people will look at me and think my life is perfect, and like when I was posting those things showing that I wasn't in a good space, I could tell that people were looking at me or reacting like, what? what problems do you have? Like, what is the problem for you to be this upset? Do you know what I mean? So I just want that to be that platform where everyone just keeps it real and we talk about things that you're not scared to talk about. And don't be afraid, you're not alone. And it is hard. It's definitely difficult. I'm still learning. But you have to try. You have to try to figure out what works for you, what works for others. You have to figure out if talking helps. You have to figure out if eating helps, going out helps, whatever it may be. We have to tackle those things and talk about them. This video will be all over the place. I am stuttering. Because I haven't filmed in a while, and I am talking about something that's touched me, that is still affecting me, that I'm still trying to learn and push through. So please bear with me. I'm just going to keep it real. I just want to start off by saying what I say is not the end all and be all. This is my experience, my opinions. That's all it is, for me to vent to you guys and you guys vent back and we just engage about it, because we all have problems, and I don't think one problem outweighs the next person's problem or problems. So it doesn't matter what your problem is, big or small, talk about it, express yourself. Don't feel bad for not being okay. Don't feel bad for not being okay. I for a long time I had this thing of like, there's people who have worse problems than me. There's people that are going through worse than me. There's people that would probably look at my problems and be like, do you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, why downplay your own problems? There's a reason it's making you feel the way you feel. There's a reason why it can cause you to self-harm. There's a reason why it makes you completely closed up. There's a reason why you feel this way. So don't undermine your problem, or don't compare your problem to someone else's. So while I was going through the really dark part of this journey, I did try to sit down and film a video, and I was an emotional wreck essentially. And I don't know, like when I watched it back, I only watched it like 3 weeks later, and I was like, oof, I don't know if I want to post something that's emotional. I'll insert a little clip of essentially how it went down. I don't have it, but I'm gonna push, and I'm not here for people to feel sorry for me. So yeah, I decided to not put up that video, not because I was afraid of anything. I just felt I was being it was adding to the problem, if I can say. It was a very pessimistic video. I was extremely demotivated. I was saying extremely dark things, and I have to unfortunately keep in mind that there's a young audience that watches my videos, and I don't think that they'd want to hear some of the things I was saying. And it even scares me too. When I watch those clips, I'm just like, wow, you really can be in a really dark place and you don't even see it. You must feel numb. You honestly feel so numb. And the things I was tweeting were also dark, to the point where I was just like, I really need to slow down. I really need to just experience it at home with my friends and my family, and not so much put it out there, because at the end of the day, there's someone out there who's looking at you suffering and is like cheering. Do you know what I mean? There's people that are jealous of you. There's people that do envy you. So if you express that you're going through something, sometimes there's someone out there who likes that you're going through that. So I think it's better that I eventually decided to just go through it by myself at home with my friends and my family, and get the help that I needed. I'm still, like I said, going through the process. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure it all out. But anyways, let's get into it. So, in 2017, beginning of the year, I went to, for those of you that don't know, I did have a spine surgery in 2015 to remove a growth from my spine. So I used to go to a lot of checkups to check if I'm doing fine, the progress, to see if I'm gonna grow the growth in my spine again, if I'm doing fine with my walking and my bladder control and just all those things. I used to have to go to a lot of checkups for those things. So in 2017, beginning of the year, I then went to the doctor that did my surgery, and I had to do scans again just to make sure that I'm completely clear and that there's nothing else growing, and if there is, what the next step must be. So mind you, I'm perfectly fine. I feel perfectly fine. I don't feel anything wrong. So I then go for a checkup, and I then go for a scan, and then obviously they analyzed the scans, and then they called a week later for us to come in. So I went with my mom and my uncle. My uncle's also a doctor, but obviously he didn't want to. He was in a different hospital, so he couldn't operate on me, but he's very hands-on because obviously so we went, my mom and my uncle, and the doctor said to me I might have to do another surgery. So the next question was like, obviously why? And they said because I said that I feel that my bladder isn't fully where it's supposed to be. And by this I meant like I was going to the bathroom way too often than I should be. That's what I said, essentially. And that the scan was showing a little bit of something. They were very vague. But he sounded very sure. Like he was just like, you might have to, not even much, you're going to have to do another surgery, and you're going to have to do it ASAP because you don't want it to get worse. Keep in mind that my surgery had the potential of me being paralyzed. There was the potential of me being paralyzed. Me being able to walk after my first surgery was a miracle. The first time was a miracle. It wasn't guaranteed. The chance of me walking were 10% out of hundreds, and 90% chance was that I was going to be paralyzed. So me coming out walking was a miracle. Keep that in mind. So when they telling you that you need to do a surgery again, the very same surgery that could leave me paralyzed, I'm starting to think, am I going to come out walking this time? And that just threw me over the edge. I saw my life is over. I didn't understand why I had to go through it again. I didn't understand because I wasn't going through the pain that I was going through the first time. So I was like, do I really need this surgery? But my bladder, I mean, surely I can work on it by taking antibiotics because that helps with bladder infections and stuff. I was just asking myself all these questions, but a surgery just didn't seem necessary. So the conclusion was, all right, I'm going to do a surgery in June. And I remember it was the Travis Scott and Bryson Tiller concerts. So I asked the doctors, like, can I at least do that? And then I'll do the surgery after that. So it was scheduled for after the concerts. Almost like a thing of, that's the last time I'm going to be able to go to a concert, because I'm not going to go to a concert in a wheelchair after that. So that was around April. And things just went bad. And this was 2017. I was starting to feel very sorry for myself. I hated school because I hated what I was studying. I was afraid to say also to my mom. And I was in a relationship at the time, and it started to strain that, and he was also going through his own things. So it was just like a lot. But the main thing, me thinking about the fact that I was going to be paralyzed and I was never going to walk again. Those thoughts started like really getting to me. So I went to therapy for it, and that's when I was first diagnosed as depressed. At that time I was very in denial, because for me I thought depression was the depression that everyone knows or associates depression with because of society. You think of cutting yourself, you think of those people that just look sad, that are miserable. So I was very like, I'm not depressed. Like, I don't think I'm depressed. I'm just sad, but I don't think I'm depressed. Then that lady was like, no, you are clinically depressed. So I was like, okay, wow. So then she gave me meds for that. And then fast forward, I don't want to talk about this too much. Fast forward, we went back to the doctor with my uncle, and my uncle analyzed the scans, and he said there's nothing growing here. There's nothing wrong. There's no spine. There's no growth in your spine. And then after I took my antibiotics, I was fine. I said my bladder's back to normal. So he was like, then what is the surgery for? We went back to the hospital, and then the doctor says, oh, I assume that she said she feels there's a growth in her spine and it's pressing against her nerves, so her bladder hits her bladder. I was like, when did I say that? I don't even know how to express how angry I was, how angry my mom was, my uncle was. It was that thing of I almost went under the knife, lost my ability to walk, ruined my life. I wasn't going to Wits at all. Like they would send me work. I was like in hell, if I can say. Like my depression was that bad, only for them to turn around and say it's a misunderstanding. And I was just like, are you fucking serious? Like, so that I got that good news, obviously, and I eventually came out of it. I tried to get back into the swing of things, and then I would explain that as my first experience of depression. So life went on. Obviously life is tough, you go through ups and downs. That's normal life, that's fine. Obviously that did happen. Cool. This fast forward 2018, there's nothing, how would I put it? There's nothing specific that happened in 2018 that I would say put me into a depression. It started being a situation of too much is going wrong. Do you know what I mean? So I'd look at, I'm just going to make examples. I don't want to put my problems out on the internet. That's not what I'm going to do. But let's say, for example, school's going bad, family's going bad, friendships going bad, business is going bad, like health is going bad. I don't know how to explain this, but when all the components of your life are bad, like everything in your life is bad, and the only things that are going right, which is another thing I want to emphasize, is when you're depressed, you are aware of the things that are going right for you. So, for example, I was grateful that I had a roof over my head. I had my own apartment. I had family that was very supportive. I had friends that were supportive. I was healthy to a certain extent in terms of I could breathe, I could do everyday things. Those things you're aware of. You go home, you go to bed having eaten. Those things, yes, we do acknowledge, great. But you do start looking at your life over a spectrum, like your whole life, and you realize this ain't it. You start to question a lot of things. I think it was after my birthday, April, after my birthday, I started to look at everything, and I was just like, oh no. Things are bad. So it started getting to me, and obviously if a lot of the things in your life are bad, it affects your everyday life because those are the things you experience. So I started to see that everything was affecting me, whether me waking up for school, me needing to get to school because financially things were quite tough, specifically in that period. I can't say why. Family was tough, my health was tough, like things that affected my surgery were starting to affect me extremely, and in social settings, like things like that. What else? Just a lot of things. I don't want to divulge, but a lot of things were going wrong. So I then went back into my depression. I did go to therapy, and the same lady, she was like, you are definitely still clinically depressed. I just learned how to suppress it. She said, I learned how to suppress it, but it's always been there. I've never dealt with it. I just said, okay, whatever. You know, when you're just like, okay, whatever. So then I started to, and disclaimer, some of this may be sensitive, I don't know, but I'm just here to speak about my journey with depression. I started to plan my suicide. So I I'm not gonna say what I did, but I did plan my suicide. The plan was obviously not obviously, but you know what I mean. The plan was to overdose on pills. I was staying at my aunt's place, and she's a nurse, so she had a lot of pills. So I would like randomly in the kitchen, like when we were cooking, I'd open the medicine cabinets and then just be like, oh, what are these for? Which ones are like the most dangerous? Like as if I'm just having conversation. So she'd tell me like, these are very dangerous. These could do this. If you overdose, just that. So she obviously didn't know that I was calculating. Keep in mind, when all of this is happening, there's no rationale. There's nothing in my mind telling me that this is wrong or what I'm doing is gonna hurt people. Like there's none of that. And when you process that, you literally just want to die. That's just the gist of it. So then I realized that it was going to be Shamiso's birthday. So I was like, let me not ruin Shami's birthday, because she was entering her 20s, and I mean Shamisu means a lot to me. So I was like, let me do it after her birthday at least, so I don't ruin her birthday. So I put the suicide off, but each day it just got so hard. I was just, oh, I want to do it already. Like I just want to leave. So then Shamisu's birthday came around. Her birthday is on the 14th of June. So I think it was on a Friday, if I'm not mistaken. So we had a dinner at Big Mouth. So I have a lot of anxiety attacks. It happens to me a lot. Social settings, doesn't matter where I am, I'll randomly just have an anxiety attack. I mean, like 2 weeks ago, I was at Rockets and I just had an anxiety attack mid-groove. I'm crying, I'm hyperventilating. It happens. I've made peace with it. I'm trying to work on it. Anyways, I divulge. So that day, I was on the way to Shami's birthday dinner, and when I got out the Uber, as I was walking towards the restaurant, I started to have an anxiety attack. So I texted and I'm like, I'm having an anxiety attack, please try hurry, because I got there first. So I get there, the waiter gives me water, helps me breathe, etc., etc. So I know the reason for that anxiety attack was because I'm thinking, this is my last day on earth, in my mind, because I'd planned to kill myself the day after Shamizu's birthday. So fine, that subsides. I started to doubt myself. I was like, maybe I shouldn't do this, maybe I shouldn't, but I was so hell-bent on it. I was sitting there and I'm looking around the table, and everyone just seemed, although you don't know what everyone's going through, everyone just seemed so okay and happy and content, and I was just like, I don't feel an inch of how these people feel. So I just wanted the dinner to end, essentially. So mind you, no one knows. Obviously, I'm not going to tell people that I'm about to kill myself. Duh. So the dinner ends. Then we go to some karaoke party. I think it was an Onyx karaoke thing. It was across the restaurant, so we ended up just going there. So we did that. I think we went to the club for like an hour, celebrated Shami's birthday. Then we left. So we left, and it's like the AMs. I'd say it's like 2-3 a.m. I get to my aunt's place. She's sleeping. I undress, put on like a gown, and I text an ex of mine that means a lot to me. But I text an ex of mine that means a lot to me and knows my life in that sense, as like a goodbye message. So I sent him a goodbye message, and then I text my sister. I think I texted my sister. And told her like to look after mom and the family, and like basically a suicidal note. Yeah. I think those are the two people I texted. That ex of mine and her. I didn't want to text Shamiso. I just thought that would cut her too much, so that's why I sent it to the ex of mine, because he could then pass on the message. Then I told my sister so she could pass on to my family. That was my thought process. So I did that, put my phone in flight mode, went into the kitchen, took all those pills, stacked them on the table, drank all of them, and that's the last thing I remember. I woke up next morning, I'm in the hospital. I'm obviously bummed, if I'm going to be honest. The first thing I thought was like, fuck, it didn't work. I'm still alive. Why? Like, that's the first thing I thought. My aunt is yapping and whining at me, and I'm just like, yeah. I don't need this right now. It's not going to work. I actually don't want to be here. I'm kind of upset that it didn't work. And now I'm thinking, crap. Now everyone's gonna ask me about my suicide. Why did I do this? Like, I started thinking all those things. Like, now everyone's gonna know what I just tried to do, and I have to answer these questions. Then the doctor comes in and says, you were literally 1 or 2 pills away from killing yourself. And I'm looking at him like, really, just 2? Like, can I take the 2 now? Like, that's like it, you don't knock out of it. You're still in suicidal mode. You don't just wake up and you're like, oh, didn't work, keep it moving. I'm still like, I want those 2 pills. So that happened. They discharged me. I went back to my aunt's place. I wasn't talking to anyone. My phone, a million missed calls from my ex, a million missed calls from Shamiso, a million missed calls from my sister, and I'm just like, I can't do this right now. So that was the second time that I went through depression, and that was the first time I attempted suicide. So long story short, I don't want to divulge in that story too much, but I went home. Well, my cousin tricked me. It was like an ambush. I went home, my cousin took me like to see my family, but it was an ambush and they all confronted me about it, and So what made me change my perspective was the look on my mom's face when she found out, because everyone else knew but her, and she found out when everyone had already given me the ambush. Then we called her in because I didn't want to tell her, and then my family kept saying, you have to tell her. And that flushed look that my mom had, I was just like, that's what changed everything. I was like, I guess I'm just gonna have to keep it moving. And like, keep in mind, up until that moment, even before, I still wanted to kill myself. The messages I was sending my sister, sometimes I read back at them and I'm like, yo, I was saying things like, let's both kill ourselves. Like, we'll be at such peace. We'll be at peace. Why do you want to be here? Let's do this. I want to kill myself. I'm going to wait till everyone's asleep. Like, I was still in that mode. I wasn't clocking out of it. Then my mom, we were holding each other in bed and cuddling, and she was like, why would you want to leave me alone on this earth? And I was just like, and it was just very emotional. And in the middle of the night, I'd be sleeping. Obviously I was on suicide watch, so I couldn't sleep alone. I couldn't go anywhere alone. I couldn't do anything alone for a while. So I was sleeping next to my mom, and like in the middle of the night, she'd randomly just hold me tight, and I realized she did it because she now had that fear of losing me, because I instilled that idea in her mind. So that changed everything that time. Went to therapy, and there I went more often. I went to a new therapist, and I loved her. Oh, loved her. And she changed everything. That's when I decided to leave Wits, because that was a factor. Decided to leave Wits. I changed a lot of things. Obviously I can't divulge, but I had to change a lot of things. I had to realize what's essentially a tip that I got from therapy. Lay out all the problems that you have, or the things you don't like about your life. Think, what did you do to be in this position? So say for example, I'm going to use something stupid, like say I'm depressed about the fact that I haven't filmed a YouTube video in 3 months. I must now sit back and say, how did I get to the point of being depressed about this? One, I decided not to do it. I decided to not film the video. What other factors made me not do it? Was I distracted? Was I procrastinating? Was I not happy with the camera quality? Was I running out of content? You have to look at all the factors that have caused that issue and try to minimize them. So minimize the procrastination, minimize the going outs, minimize how you feel about your content. Text someone, text any other YouTuber and say, hey, I'd like to film a video like this, but I'm not sure what to do. Help me out. You've minimized you feeling insecure about your content. If you don't like your camera quality, ask a friend to borrow a camera, ask another YouTuber, hire a camera, do what you need to do so that your content is where you need it to be. It will minimize what makes you feel so bad about it, and that's what really helps. And like I said in my saying, and in my first Landzy talks I said this, keep it moving. Any issue that I have, I'm just like, keep it moving. Another tip, that's tip number 2, keep it moving. Don't sit and mope and divulge in the problem. Keep it moving, attack it. What's the issue? How are you going to solve it? Attack it, keep it moving, on to the next. Because unfortunately, and this is what my ex told me, the special ex, he told me, he's like, life will always have problems. You will always go through this whirlwind of problems and things feeling great at some point and then tumbling down again. And the only thing we need to nail down is how we deal with it. So if the issues and the ups and downs are guaranteed, where you know what's going to happen, what are you going to do to cope through that? He says we a step ahead. You knowing that you're going to face a problem at some point, you're already a step ahead, which means you can plan and decide what are you going to do about it. What's your next move? What are you going to decide to do, essentially? And then the third thing that I learned now recently from my therapy is focus on the problems of that day. So when I wake up this morning and I think, okay, what issue do I have to solve today? So let's say my issue is to pay my rent. Say that's the issue. Then I say, cool, let me call my mom, let me call my uncle, just an example, and let me solve the rent issue. Pay my rent. Done. The stress that I'm stressing about today is done. The problem is that we now stress about what's going to happen in the next 2 days or the next 3 weeks. And you're stressing about, but it's not affecting today in any way. That problem that you're stressing about that's in 2 weeks does not affect the current situation in the day. If you know you have an exam in 2 weeks, right? When you wake up today, what's the issue today? Let me study. Not, how's the exam going to go? Oh, I'm so stressed. Deal with the issue that's happening today. You know that chapter 2 is going to be in the exam. You know that when you woke up this morning. Deal with that stress. Study chapter 2. Get it out the way. The next day, you know you've gotten chapter 2 out the way. That's one less load of stress. But we tend to wake up, stress about the issue of today, then stress about the issue for the next 3 years. And we focus on issues that we've experienced in the past. Like for the longest time, I would wake up and be like, oh my gosh, I wasted so much of my mom's money at Wits and now I'm leaving and she would have loved for me to be a Wits graduate. Oh my god. It's like it's in the past. It's happened. You've left. The money was paid. There's nothing I can do. Me sitting and thinking about the fact that I've wasted so much money at Wits is not helping me in any way. If anything, it's just making me feel sad again, making me feel guilty, where I just need to focus on the problem at hand today, which is focusing on my new school, what I need to do at my new school, what I need to complete for the day. So that's another thing that's really, really helped me focusing on the problems of the day. Take all the problems or the issues or the tasks that you have for the day, finish, on to the next. Don't procrastinate because that does stress you out. I know it's easier said than done. I procrastinate, but I don't know how else to explain how good it feels to attack an issue and move on from it, and attack the next one and move on from it, and attack the next one and move on from it, and to consciously tell yourself, listen, this is the situation, and this is the only way you can fix it is by attacking it now. Don't attack it 3 days later, because chances are 3 days later you're more demotivated, you're rushing, you're not even appreciating the process. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I hope that this is gonna help. So those are the 3 things that I definitely wanted to give you, the 3 tips that I wanted to give you guys as a way to get through it if you're going through depression. The 4th thing is, don't feel bad for feeling bad. One of the issues with depression is you start to feel guilty, you start to feel bad, you start to feel pitied. When people are texting you saying, I hope you're okay, you start to feel like a charity case. Like, you just feel bad for feeling bad. You like, why do I feel like this? You want to knock out of it. You hate every second of it, every minute of it. It consumes you. Guys, depression, it consumes you so much. It becomes you become numb. You let depression control you. You let it lead you, and it's nothing you can control as long as you're aware of it. I wasn't aware of it for the longest time. Then I started to realize that it's a sickness. My sister said that. She said it's a disease, it's a sickness. The plan is for it to take you down and make you feel it. You need to be a step ahead and be aware that that's what it's trying to do and fight it. So I began to do that and say, you know what, I can't wake up every morning and do nothing and sit and cry all day and eat. I'm going to be very honest. Before last week, literally before this past week, for the past 3 weeks before that, I would cry every single day. I would eat junk food. Every day was eat, sleep, eat, sleep. I did nothing productive, absolutely nothing. I wasn't talking to anyone. I was completely ignoring people. I was going out less. I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to be social. If I did go out, what would I do? Drink to a pulp. I would drink and drink and drink and drink and drink to the point where I started to feel like it's like alcohol is literally part of my bloodstream. And I needed to see all of those effects and say, I needed to knock myself out of it and say, listen, wake up, attack these issues. You can't be like this forever. So yeah, this recent time is my third time going through one of my most darkest depression episodes. I did try to kill myself once again, but I was way more hesitant this time. And like I said, I'm working on it. But yeah, 2 weeks ago, I tried to kill myself. But yeah, look at life. I'm here today. So depression will consume you, and when it consumes you, you feel bad for feeling bad, and you isolate yourself. You don't want to talk to anyone. You don't want to be pitied. So my first step would be, fourth point is that don't feel bad for feeling bad. It's okay. Let it happen. Feel it, but at some point you have to knock out of it and not let it control you and lead you, because it's such a sick feeling. I don't know how to explain it, but being depressed makes me feel like disgusting and sick, and it just I wish I could take it out of me. Like, I'd wake up every day and be like, I don't like this feeling, but here I am, and I'm just gonna have to make it work. So that's the fourth thing I'd say. The fifth thing I'd say, which is a cliche: talk to someone, speak to someone, express yourself to someone. I was the type to keep things closed up. Hence, the first time when I tried to kill myself, it was a shock to everyone. Everyone was like, since when do you have problems to the point where you want to do this? And it's because I'd never told anyone at all, not even Shamiso. No one knew at all. So this time I had a breakdown in front of Shamiso and Andy, and I was crying, like that cry where it feels like you're going to literally faint. Like, I was crying like that and just letting it all out, and that helped so much. It really did. I allowed Shamiso to be there for me. I allowed my sister to be there for me. I allowed Andy to be there for me, all my friends and family. I told my mom for the first time, and she was there for me 1000%. So it really, really does help to talk. And one thing my ex told me, we still speak. I know, we're just close. We're really, really close. But one thing he said this time is that what I tend to do is I like to assume how the people are going to react and feel. And a lot of us do that. So I think if I'm going to go and tell my mom that I'm depressed, I'm already deciding how she's going to react. Whereas it's like, did she tell you she's going to react that way? Do you know for a fact that she's going to react that way? When you tell your best friend, do you know for a fact that she's not going to care, that she's going to leave you alone? You don't know. So try yourself out and express it. The worst that could happen, I know, people could not be there for you the way you expect them to, or they could maybe throw it in your face. That can happen, but you need to be sure, and you can always feel it in your guts who you should tell and who you shouldn't tell. You can definitely feel it in your guts. So I think that's another thing. Just pick wisely who you tell, but do speak to someone. It helps so much. So that's all I'd say right now. I will do a part 2 because obviously I have a lot to say about depression, but it'll be okay. It's hard, it's difficult, trust me. When I say depression it's something else, and it's not fun, it's toxic, it's sick, it's all these things, but it'll be okay. Get the help that you need. Another thing is, I know not everyone can afford therapy. It's expensive. I know. I'm not rich. I don't have all the money. It's expensive. Go on YouTube. Go to the library. Put on earphones in the computer in the library, and search for how to get through depression, how to get help. We live in a day and age where there's so many places and sources and resources that we can use for help. You can DM me and I can help you. There's so many things that you can do to help yourself, but don't sit and feel sorry for yourself and accept your situation. Try your best, try your hardest, get the help that you need. You are stronger than it. You are stronger than depression. You will fight it, you'll get through it. And God doesn't give you an obstacle or a situation that you can't overcome. I always say that. I might be paraphrasing right now, but God will never give you something or a challenge, an obstacle that you can't overcome. He knows you're strong enough for it. It may not feel like it, but He knows. And I'm not saying that I'm at that point where I'm aware and I'm fully aware of these things. It's just I know it, and I'm trying to tell myself this often and get through it and teach myself. And eventually you will feel the strength inside you, and you'll feel that, you know what, I can do this, I can attack this, I can get through it. So all in all, right now my methods are those 5 things that I mentioned, and I'll list them or leave them in the description box. Those are the 5 things that I do. And I've been reading the books that I suggested in my first Landzy Talks. I've read them again, and that also helped. I'll leave them in the description box once again. But so far, that's what's happening, and don't feel bad about it. You'll get through it. This video is probably all over the place, and I'm just rambling. I'm sorry about that, but I hope that it was helpful. I hope that I did make you more aware and feel more relatable to me, and understand that not everything that you see is what it is. Not all that glitters is gold, and that there is help. There's ways to get through it. That's you above it. Depression doesn't define you. Depression is something that was made to destroy you, and you can't let it do that to you. Try your best. And another thing I've acknowledged is, for me, it comes and goes. Like I said, I've experienced a dark time every year since 2014, I'd say. But obviously 2014 and 15, I wasn't aware that it's depression. I didn't think it was, but it was. But now that I'm aware, I know that it comes and goes for me, because I am clinically depressed. But I just know how to work with it now. I know how to work around it. I know that I need to push through. Yes, this time I was at the point where I was like, I'm done. But I think sometimes you need to get to the worst part of your life, like the worst and the darkest and the most painful part of your life, to get up and be 10 times stronger. And that's what this past experience has done for me. And my problems are still there. Of course, they don't go away overnight, but I am trying to work on them step by step, day by day, and just figure it all out. I believe that one day it'll be okay. So feel free to DM me, email me if you must, if you want to talk, if you need any help, and we will take it from there. I'm more than willing to help. So thank you guys for listening to my story. I hope I wasn't rambling too much, but I really want everyone to be aware of depression and that there's help, and that you're not alone. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing. I'm so grateful. Even when I was away, people were subscribing. I think we're almost at 17,000 subscribers now. So I'm so grateful. I will do a giveaway as promised, but like I said, things are really tense right now and hard for me. So I hope you guys will understand. It's not an excuse. Like, I'm not trying to make excuses, but it's the reality of the situation. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next video.